Prusa fails, Bambu fails, and Resin fails aplenty. All this and more. PrintFix Friday, episode 64. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to PrintFix Friday, YouTube's longest weekly print fail fix video series. Remember, if you want to get your fails featured on this video and have me take a look at them, you can do so by tagging us on all the social medias, sliding into those DMs, and using the hashtags PrintFix, or you can email them to me directly at youtube@3dmusketeers.com. We got some awesome fails for you, a lot from Prusa and Bambu Labs, so get your hate comments ready. We're coming for the throat on this one. But you know what isn't? Our sponsor, 3D Musketeers. We understand that print fails suck. I hate them as much as the next person. But that's why we have so many machines here at 3D Musketeers, because if one fails, I'll just grab another one. It's easier to do that sometimes. And having those expert opinions and ability to know slicer settings every single time means that your parts come out perfect, because we wouldn't ship them if they weren't. We also have tons of 3D scanning capability, as well as CNC milling and laser cutting to help you get your ideas out of your head and into your hands. And hey, we recognize if you're not in that kind of market, you're not ready to take that next step into going into the industrial and prosumer markets to make awesome, but you want to help out what we do here. A couple of bucks in that creator fund every month goes a long way. We'll link to Patreon and YouTube channel members down below in that description, so click on them if you think we deserved it. And hey, we understand times are tight this year. Everyone wants to save up for the holidays to make that special someone, which could also be yourself, the maker of their dreams. And that's okay. It means a like, share, and subscribe goes a long way to helping us out as well. But enough of me yabbering on about why you should help us out here at 3DM. Let's get to helping you all out by fixing some fails. We're starting off a little spicy today with my buddy, the 3D Print General, who we gotta have on a podcast pretty soon to kind of talk about the state of 2A 3D printing and kind of where we have to draw the line legally, figuratively, and otherwise. It should be a fun podcast episode. We've talked about it in the past, never materialized. He got busy, I got busy. Y'all know how this goes. But Mr. General 3D Print? General 3D Print. We should chat. We got a Bambu lab failure here, and apparently spaghetti detection did work, but he didn't have it set to auto pause, which is interesting. It's odd to me that a printer could detect the failure and just run right through it. I feel like I would just remove that option and force it to auto pause. Now, I know that having a printer falsely tell you it is turning into spaghetti when it's not could be a problem because you're going to lose a bunch of time. But as far as I'm aware, these printers are app connected, so it should notify you in the app, right? Where you can look at the camera and say, nah, we're cool, fam. Or no, actually, let's kill this thing. I'd rather have the printer wait and burn time than come back to this. Now, thankfully, at least in this particular instance, it's just a pull it off and remove it kind of deal. But generally speaking, sometimes spaghetti can actually cause real mechanical failures, and we want to try to avoid those, right? Generally though, the spaghetti causing mechanical failures occurs on more affordable printers that aren't necessarily built to the level that printers like the Bambu Lab supposedly are. Again, I don't have hands on any of them. I've reached out to Bambu Lab, but go figure, I'm not on the list. How to solve this though? I mean, obviously turn on auto pause, but if the app doesn't notify you, that seems like a really easy thing that could be added in without too much extra effort, where you would get a push notification saying, hey, printer detected spaghetti, take a look. Now, obviously if you're asleep is what it is, but this is the cold plate, which I'm told is a little notorious for not really sticking all that well to things. And knowing the 3D Print General and the pews that he tends to do, why are you printing in PLA, bro? You got an X1 carbon. Get the carbon fiber nylon and let's go to town. I mean, I'm not saying you can't do something fun out of PLA, but you know, maybe the plate was wrong from the beginning. I'm legitimately not sure. We got Chris here stating that after 5 days of fighting with my Bambu AMS, trying to figure out why it's always jamming and not feeding correctly, I've narrowed it down to something in the AMS1 feeder, as 2 through 4 have been printing multicolor perfectly. Now to take apart that section and figure out why. And before you Bambu Lab people jump down my throat, I know this is not the only person that is dealing with it, because one of our own in our Patreon is dealing with this exact same problem, where feeder number 1 just outright destroys filament. This is not great. And there are a couple of different things that could be causing it. We've got either gummed up filament, which we can see definitely chewing through some stuff. We can see the filament is dragging along the side. And a lot of people are saying that a fix is this model, which is some sort of radius guide for the AMS. Now, I'm not saying that there's a problem here, but we have one person in the comments talking about it. I've got a person that has this exact issue, and they're all happening the same way. So I'm wondering if it's something to do with the manufacturing process of it that causes maybe tighter tolerances than you might want to see on it, or some way that the filament is going into that feeder there, giving it a little bit more pressure than the others. There are a multitude of potentials here, but ultimately the issue is it's failing. And it shouldn't. And when you're spending $1,450 on a printer that is touted to be one of the best 3D printers out of the box, this can be a bit of a pain. Now, it is nice that it does give you an error code that you are able to either say retry, or you can just send this code to Bambu Lab support. But with one of our Patreon members that has this issue, they're getting like a day or two response time. So they're now over a week deep in trying to solve this problem just because of the time that it takes to get back and forth. I said this once and I'll say it again. Bambu Lab's success, and any company's great success like this, an overnight sensation like we're seeing, is potentially a death sentence, right? If you're not able to grow your support staff and have them properly trained in the same speed and ramp up that you get for your sales, you're going to end up dealing with a lot of consumer problems and not have the throughput in staffing to deal with it. And well, I know I'm right because Bambu Lab is hiring all over for support. So it makes sense. Now, I'm glad that they are recognizing that deficiency and they're adding on, but let's see how long it takes for everything to kind of normalize. Again, this is why they're in probation for myself and other business owners that are not as risky as others might be. But I'll tell you, some people that I know are having great success with them. So it is a very hit or miss thing. This to me is growing pains. How to solve this? I don't know. I want to bring it to attention because if you are dealing with the same problem, let me know in the comments. I want to try to narrow down the kind of consistent problems that we see with them, or at least the ones that pop up more often than others, because it would be nice to put together some sort of a troubleshooting guide to understand better what people have tried that works, what people have tried that hasn't. So if you are a Bambu Lab user and you are going through this, you don't have to waste your time chasing a dragon that others have and it hasn't worked for them. Not saying it would not work for you, it could, but those would be the things that I try last. I like the idea of this strain relief. I'm surprised the printers don't have something like this to begin with, but when you're dealing with PTFE Bowden tube, if you kink it too much, the filament won't smoothly go through and it will create a lot of friction. Supports peeling off and warping. We've got an issue here with the first layer really not sticking all of that well in a resin print. So let's take a look and see what we got in terms of details. Printer is an M3 4.2 second exposure. That's really, really long. Very, very long. I would be worried about that. But the thing to note here is not your actual exposure time. We want to look at the first layer times because we're clearly not getting good adhesion in the middle of the print bed. The room temperature is 22°C, so that is something to note. That's a little cold for some resins. A lot of resins prefer to be somewhere in the 24 to 25°C range, but it might be close enough not to worry about it too much. The supports are the chute box factory medium auto supports. First, go to Lychee Slicer, please. Actually, they just released support for FDM printers. We're gonna be doing a video on that in the coming weeks. I've been told to hold off as there's some really cool things coming, so we're gonna hold off on that for a bit. But I am excited because for those of you that are big into resin printing and want to move into FDM printing, but don't want to learn a whole new slicer, how you can stay within the Lychee ecosystem. Is it gonna be better than other slicers? I don't know. We're going to find out. So get subscribed if that's something that you want me to take a look at. We've also got some orientation issues. We've got some very, very large flat surfaces here, and those flat surfaces mean massive areas of contact with your FEP. So as you're doing the peel, those large contact patches are going to create suction forces, and that suction force can a lot of times overcome the force that holds the part to the build plate itself. So in cases like that, it is always recommended to take your parts and tilt them ever so slightly. Even a few degrees is better than flat like this. And you can see that it's causing issues as the part is pulling away from the support material itself. And in some areas like this, just completely not attached. So what can be done here? First, let's look at getting your ambient temperature up. Let's lower your exposure times, run the cones of calibration, and really tune in your exposure times, and move over to Lychee Slicer. And I think those steps all together should net you a better result. Tilting it, new slicer, room temperature, and tuning in your exposure times should get you a lot closer to that goal. But if you are using a fast peel and lift speed, that could cause it as well, but I'm more curious regarding your exposure times as well as the orientation of the parts. I think this can be solved pretty easily. Printer adhesion issues. We've got some really nasty looking resin prints. I mean, look at that. That's real bad. Bases are thick, the lines are thick. So what's going on here? To me, it's pretty clear just from the photos itself, they're overexposing. They've tried two different resins, two different slicers. Temp of the room is going up and going down. Settings in the slicer for how long layers should cure for both bottom and normal layers. Basically, they've tried everything. It's a Photon Mono X, and it was printing fine before. The suction is peeling up enough that the UV light is bleeding into the entire vat and half curing most of the resin, leaving tendrils all over it. Good Lord have mercy. And Chris Catlett jumped in here, and thanks again to Mr. Catlett for providing this to us in our Discord. They are using a 5-second all the way up to 16-second for their normal exposure, and their bottom layers at 40 seconds and as high as 80. All of these are too high. A Photon Mono X is a, as the name would state, monochromatic LCD screen resin 3D printer. And that means its bottom layer should be somewhere between 25 and 35 seconds, and the resin cure times for each layer somewhere in the range of like 1.5 to 3.5 seconds. When you're running as high as 16, you're absolutely giving it way too much light. These are from a recommended settings sheet. There are sheets floating around out there for Elegoo and Anycubic resin 3D printers that have recommended settings for the resin. These sheets were generally built before monoscreen resin 3D printers had become popular. And that means they're utilizing the old RGB LCD screens that needed a lot longer exposure times than mono screens did. Because 8-second normal and bottom layer 60, that is absolutely for an RGB LCD screen and not for a mono. This person didn't know, and because of that, they've been massively overexposing and dealing with these problems. It sucks because there's really no good solution if you don't know where to look, and understand that even on some resin bottles, manufacturers put the wrong cure times that are recommended. If you are ever having issues like this, test prints like the cones of calibration are a great way to tune in your resin. It will tell you very quickly that you're not doing it well. They are printing the cones of calibration model, and they are using the Elegoo ABS resin. And Mr. Catlett gave a link to the Tabletop Foundry Discord, which of course we will link to in that description down below as well. Great community over there. They've still got some work to do, but they're moving in the right direction. Please wear gloves. I understand this looks somewhat clean, but resin is toxic. You know that, I know that, and if you don't know that, hi, welcome to the channel. You must be new here. My name's Grant. I have a thing for saying resin is toxic. It's even a thing on the channel. Merch coming soon. The joke has been that we should have this be a mug, and I am actually kind of down for that. Yeah, still overexposing though. Although the success ones look good. So A+ for that. Ooh, do we have another Bambu lab failure? That's right, we got another Bambu lab failure here. And this is from 3Dom Sculpts, who is responsible for this monstrosity. It's a monstrosity. It's hilarious. It's a monstrosity. It is Simone Gertz writing tofu. Look, man, I just work here, okay? Like, I just print here. All right. So Wayne is saying that they've had issues that they've not seen many talk about with the X1, but they doubt they're the only one experiencing it. The purge chute filling up randomly, leading to the hot end slamming into the build up and getting knocked off axis. leading to failed supports. So we can see that and I assume these are axolotls, and their little Christmas hats are, well, a little off kilter. And as Joel Telling here says, the chute is a poor design choice. In automation, you want to control every aspect. The chute leads to scenarios it can't control. I have said this so many times that I believe that the fatal flaw of this machine is its chute. There is no easy way to get the filament out of it. And unless you set up something like a shop vac to suck those pieces of purge out, you really don't have a good system. And unfortunately, in a print farm, you don't want a flow bee effectively attached to your printers. Shout out to those that actually know what I'm talking about when I say flow bee. They're not the only ones. And apparently this is a Zoo 3D bottle, so very cool. Zoo 3D is famous for the ghost with legs and is now actually doing a Christmas tree with legs, which is interesting. And because it is on the back side of the printer, it makes it even harder for those that have their printers, like mine, up against walls to actually access it. And yes, you could print a purge bucket where it falls around, but if it doesn't actually fall down the chute, you've again got an issue. With all the technology packed into the Bambu Lab printer, I would think it would behoove the software side of it to utilize either the LiDAR sensor or some sort of sensor to detect whether or not the chute has been cleared. This could be as simple as a little laser curtain that can detect when something is in the way of it, and if the filament falls through, it won't be in the way anymore, and there's no problem. And if it is still in the way, the printer will either continue to purge, try to push it through, or pause and wait for you. Now, I know over time it might still be able to pass that clog and not cause a jam like this, but I don't know about you, I'd be pretty bummed. Now, for whatever it might be worth, this was probably only like 45 minutes or an hour worth of printing anyways, so it's not like there's a massive loss of time or money, but it is a frustration that if you are working in a farming environment, it just further shows that these printers, in my opinion, are not ready for the kind of abuse that they would get in an environment like mine or others that would be utilizing them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On top of that, they're really freaking loud. And that means we might not be able to have them here in the office where I film. So that one might be a little interesting too. I would like to work with Bambu Lab on this though. I know there are better ways to do this. There are absolutely ways that we can utilize some form of machine vision. Even if we have a camera to check it. This is really something that is unpredictable. And as Joel says, a variable that you can't control makes for a machine that is not designed for manufacturing. It is a hobbyist printer, which is fine, and it firmly falls into the hobbyist price point in my opinion. And I think it's a damn good hobbyist machine. Don't think it's a damn good business machine because of random weird problems like this. And I know for a fact that Wayne is not the only one dealing with it. So if you have an X1 carbon with the AMS on it, and you are dealing with this problem, how have you solved it? How have you worked around it? And what are you doing to try to mitigate this problem? Because I know it is common. I know it happens. Is it as common as I think it could be? I don't know. Remember, we're seeing a lot of the vocal minority of people that are having problems. And then we see people like Filament Frenzy that are doing gorgeous, 12 plus color 3D prints, but we also don't see a lot of the failures that happen as well. Maybe Tom is having a good experience where Wayne, understandably, Wayne is a little upset here. You're pretty deep into this print for it to fail. Next up, a fail from my buddy, the 3D printing professor. We have the general and the professor in one episode. I'm getting schooled over here. Y'all know how this goes. Catastrophic print failure on my Prusa. Took out the temp sensor on my stock hot end. Do I replace the temp sensor? Do I take this opportunity to upgrade my hot end? And to what? So we got a thermistor that decided it's out of here, son. Get out. See you later. And this thing is not too damaged. And I see the cheeky Diamondback nozzle. Nice work. Love the diamond nozzles. But with a broken thermistor, you cannot heat up your printer, making this a bit of a pain in the ass to replace and fix. Do you want to replace your hot end? If you do, then it's a Revo. It's a Revo 6 because it's a dead drop-in. It just works. It's easy. But honestly, replacing a thermistor in a Prusa is not that big of a deal. I would just replace the thermistor and move on, especially when you already have the nice diamond nozzle already on there, which should be the last nozzle you ever need. But I'm seeing a lot of other cables strain here, not just from the thermistor, but there's other cables that could be damaged. So Be careful with that. That is something to be aware of in the Prusa, that the cables can become fatigued if you move them like this too quickly and too often. If you don't fix it, going to something like an E3D Revo, this one specifically being the Prusa edition, is a great choice. I don't think you can go wrong with either choice. Honestly, it just depends on, do you want to mess around with a Revo, and are you willing to spend the coin that it takes to get into this ecosystem? Yeah, guys, let me know what you think of these fails down in those comments below. Stay tuned, because I got some just fun little B-roll from Thanksgiving, where I went down to Miami to hang out with my mom's side of the family. And yes, we did see some big iguanas down there. It's Thanksgiving. Interrupt a little bit later, but this is what it looks like right now. Everyone's hanging out, enjoying family. That's all I have for you guys today. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Hey guys, thanks Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video, and a massive thank you goes out to all of our Patreon and YouTube channel member supporters whose names are listed right next to me at the $5 tier and higher. Remember, if you want to join this elite group of Musketeers, you can do so by clicking those links in that description down below and pledging as little as $1 a month. Right below me will be the entire PrintFix Friday series, and right next to that will be my tour of Printed Solid. You should click on at least one of them, if not both. I'll see you guys down in those comments, and in the next one. Take care.